Welcome everybody, welcome to the first episode of Take One with BTS. Today we have one of the most decorated designers in St. Kitts and Nevis. She's designed over 100 different pieces and her name is...
Lesrie Hanley.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
So we're gonna jump straight into it. Tell me, how did you begin Elle Couture?
This story is actually a little bit off the ordinary. Most persons don't believe because they think that this is something that I've wanted to do all my life, where that is far from the case. I fell into this business by default. How it started was basically after finding out that my mother knew how to sew. I didn't know that until my early 20s, probably mid-20s. However, I found out that she had a little knowledge in the field. So me being the type of person that generally loved to dress up and everything, so I gave her styles just to test her to see if she could make certain stuff for me. She basically executed them way better than I expected, because this is something that I'm living with this lady for all my life, and I had no idea she knew how to work a sewing machine. So it started out that way with just me giving her stuff for me to make, and then Leslie is always kind of like in her head. So after I realized from wearing certain pieces and persons would compliment, and when I told them that my mother made it, they were like, for real? So business idea popped up. I was like, we should take this to another level. So I brought it to her and was able to launch her business, which is VN Designs. That's where I started, and convinced her to go into it full time. So it didn't work out so well for me because now she's so busy that she didn't have time to make my stuff. So I then had to learn how to sew on my own. It started out from me not being able to cut, just simply she would cut my stuff and I have to sew them, and then I was able to cut, but I couldn't put in a zip to save my life. So it was just like a little funny thing that every time I made an outfit, she'd tell me she would charge me $10. I had to pay $10 to put in my zips and so on. And then as that grew, I just kind of realized how much I had a passion for it. I was kind of intrigued by the art of just being able to make whatever I wanted, but I wasn't interested in just sewing. I wanted to design. That's when the birth of Elle Couture basically started, because I started just constantly walking around with a scrapbook and my pencil crayons and everything, just coming up with ideas on paper. Just nothing that I thought that would go any further. It was just something that was interesting to me at the time. And in 2017, this time I had already started sewing for a while. That was started 2012. So this is about 5 years going on now. 2017, Courts had this fashionista competition where it was attracted to designers. You had to pick a piece out of their Courts catalog. So this is furniture pieces, household decor and stuff. You pick an item from it and you have to design something that inspired you from the item. So I entered that competition and I placed second, which was I was so excited because me not knowing basically what I'm doing and coming up with different designers, it was persons who entered, people who basically been in the field for a while. So I placed second, and that kind of that was the birth of Elle Couture. Elle Couture, it gave me the confidence to be able to do this, because I kind of doubted myself for a while. And compared to now, I still wasn't anywhere close to where I am now. So it's kind of scary to think that I launched a business with the little knowledge that I had when it comes to sewing and fashion designing. But that kind of gave me the push, and Elle Couture was launched 2 months later.
Okay, how would you describe your aesthetic? Because you have a very, I would say a very luxury, high-end style, and usually you don't see that very much from a local brand.
It's kind of not really sad to say, because you would think that most persons, you don't want to create something that is just what you like, because you have to cater to your audience. But still, Elle Couture is a brand that's near and dear to me, so it represents me, is what I love. It's not necessarily all about me, but it's where I see it going. So my personal style is simplistic looks. I'm a lover of vintage fashion, so that's where I get most of my inspiration. But I feel that you can do way more with a simpler style outfit, because it gives you a little extra class, and you can style it in many different ways rather than the styles that are just kind of in your face. So most of my styles and designs would be centered around either the vintage look, especially for my gowns, bridal gowns especially, the vintage look, or simple elegance, understated elegance, as I would say, because you can do so much more with that. Simpler, less is sometimes way more. So that is what you would see Elle Couture basically giving off.
Do you have a favorite designer?
For now, I had one. But for now, I don't think I have, because reason being, I was often following more of those high-end designers, but I'm finding way more, let's say, inspiration from smaller designers that you wouldn't know, just simply like going on Facebook Reels and TikTok and so on. Like the smaller persons that nobody knows, I'm learning way more from them than the high-end designers. So for now, I love fashion in all types of eras, areas, everything, but I love following a smaller designer.
Why do you think that is?
Sometimes I don't want to pinpoint and say this is exactly the case, but most of the high-end designers, they've already made it. They've done the hard work. So some may think that they're a little bit more relaxed because, as we say in Caribbean terms, our saying is the bread is already buttered. So it's not much you find that they have to do in terms of trying to pull in customers because the clientele is already there. But when you have the smaller designers who are up and coming, they may have quite a bit, but they're still trying to make a name for themselves. You said that they're putting more effort, pushing more, they're putting themselves out there more. So I am learning more from them and kind of being inspired by them as well, because I feel like we're on the same page. I would love to be like the high-end designers at some point, but I'm getting more from the smaller men just making their way up.
So we spoke about where you started and we spoke about where you are now. Now describe how Elle Couture has evolved between then and now.
Well, Elle Couture basically just started out in a little corner at home. Because when Elle Couture started, I was still young, still living with my mother. Eventually, I was on my own, and again, just a little corner in the house. I remember when I purchased my first sewing machine, because I started out just sewing on hers. Even though I was doing my own thing, I didn't launch Elle Couture yet. It was just like a few clientele. I had a small client base in terms of customers that I would have gained from working on the VN designs. So when I eventually purchased my first machine, oh my God, it was the most liberating feeling ever. Simply purchasing a machine and a serger. And I remember my husband being the one that helped me with my then boyfriend, now husband, was the one that helped me with that purchase. So he is basically a big part of it. He has always been there to push me. But even when I moved out from my mother, at that point I was still kind of wondering, how can I do this? But same way, I'm like, I have to do this because I'm now on my own. I have my own bills. At that point, I already had my daughter. I have my own bills, so I have to keep pushing at Elle Couture. Just from that mantra and me telling myself these things every day on a daily, because even though I started out small, the support has always been amazing. When I launched my brand, I did it with a fashion show / party. So it was like a small little runway throughout the night. And when I had to come out in the end, me being the person that hates being, as much as you see me sitting here, hates being in the spotlight, I was behind just panicking, like I literally have to walk out. And when it became even worse is when I decided to go and peep and see, because nobody basically knows me. I'm coming out, this person from nowhere, launching a brand. When I decided to peep and see what was going on outside, they panic because the crowd that I saw outside was nothing near close to what I expected. Like the support has been overwhelming from beginning. I have an amazing set of customers. So growing the business has always been easy in terms of that because the customers has always been there. They've been following, they've been supporting me. So from coming out of a corner of my house to having my own fashion studio and store where I sell in-store pieces, it took a lot of hard work, a lot of time, but the elevation of my business, if I'm looking at it from my point of view, from where I started to now, has been nothing short of amazing. And I'm grateful for every opportunity that I've been given throughout the year, because I didn't do it alone. It's persons who trusted me, persons who gave me opportunities, chances, just to showcase what I can do.
You design bridal gowns. You design prom gowns. You do luxury. What's your favorite to design and why?
My favorites are gowns in general, but bridal gowns. There is something about making a bride feel absolutely gorgeous on her special day, which she would call, at that point, she would probably call it the most important day of her life. I think some persons would be a little bit intimidated from a bride because, of course, a bride, this is a big day. They're very demanding, but I love catering to them I'm often doing more than is required of me just to make sure that day is extremely special, because it doesn't just stop at the gown.
Right.
I have to tell the brides the gowns are the most important thing, but you need to make sure that everything pairs well with the gown. Just at the end, when you dress them, when everything falls into place and they look at themselves and they're pleased, especially being a service provider makes me feel like, it makes me feel even more special than them, because then you're happy with what I made for you, I produced for you. And on a day as special as that, for you to trust me with something like that, because I'm just a local designer.
Right.
I'm not downplaying myself, but most for things like these, persons would prefer to go overseas or go to a higher name. So for them to come to me and put that kind of trust in me is something that I don't take for granted. And that's why it's so special to me, because you can go to anybody. You come into me for an outfit just to wear to a fete. It's important, but it's different when it's your wedding day. Your wedding day, and you put that trust and faith in me. Yes, you're paying for it, but still, you trust that I can execute and make you gorgeous on your day. So something about wedding gowns just does it for me.
Right. And what does the process look like for you, without exposing your secret sauce and what makes Lesrie? What does the process of designing look like for you, from conceptualization to production to delivery?
Well, for all of my gowns, bridal gowns especially, it always starts with a consultation. That's something that is non-negotiable, because that gives me the opportunity to get to meet with my bride and get an idea of what they are going for, what they want, and also get a feel of their personality and get to see them in person, their body type and everything, because I can't just design any gown and then just give it a random person. These gowns need to be designed specifically for them, that caters to them, their body type, their needs, their wants, their dislikes, all of that. So it has to start with a consultation. And it kind of builds a connection between me and the client as well. So once we start with that, this is a way for me to try and calm my bride. So because whether something happens or not, it's always nerves. Planning your wedding is a lot of nerves. So, and your wedding gown, which is basically supposed to be the most important thing, that's going to be the one that's going to be kind of stressing you out for the most of the time. So I try to use that opportunity to kind of calm them and hope that they trust me with the process. So after that, we begin with material sourcing. I have quite a few suppliers. I have my main ones that I trust. They always do me right when it comes to my material needs, pricing, and all of that. And we get to the sketching. I love sketching, I love designing, but it doesn't always just come naturally. Sometimes it's as simply you have to be in the zone. Because there is times when I want to come up with ideas, but it's just not there. I don't think persons understand this. Like, because you're a designer, they could just tell you, design something, and you just pull out a pen and paper. Like, you have to get inspiration from somewhere. But whenever it hits me, it's simple. Like, I can finish the design in no time. And so once I do that design, I have to then forward it to my clients to see what they like. There's times when they would say, okay, I want to change this or that, or change that, and we'll go through the process until we get there. And there are times, which this happens quite often, that I send it to the bride and they would be like, absolutely love it. That is a feeling I can't describe, because for you to not want any changes, like, I gave you what you wanted, one shot.
Right.
So that is an amazing feeling, and we follow through with measurements and all of that. They'll do multiple fittings. I always make sure that I close out my store for my brides. I'm just focusing on them solely.
Right.
They have to feel comfortable, and they have to make sure that fit is just right, because when you're walking down the aisle and reception and everything, you want to make sure that your dress is still fitting you as should. During times, nobody is perfect. I can't say that I haven't had mishaps or anything, because garments, zippers, something may rip or whatever. Not often, but of course, I'm only human. I can't really control what would happen with a material sometimes. Sad to say, it hasn't happened often, but I offer a service where I continue the catering to my bride up to the day of the wedding. So I go to them, I dress them. So this helps me to avoid any kind of mishaps, because I know exactly what needs to be done. Right. So me being there to take care of that ensures that you won't have any mishaps, because everything is in my hands. Your dress is in my hands. I'm responsible for making sure it stays perfect, it stays clean, it stays intact. So with that service, that's something that I decided to do maybe probably after seeing the need for it, because it's as simple as leaving someone to zip up a gown. You might think it's just a zip, but it's really not that serious. Right. One false move could just ruin that zip right away, and I don't think persons understand that. And the first thing they will say is, you didn't make it properly, which that may not be the case, but then I still have to take responsibility. Correct. I still have to own up to that. So that's an unfortunate side of it. So for the entire process of my gowns and everything, I'm trying to be there on top of every single step, making sure that I'm covering my end and also making you feel comfortable that in the end, when you've paid me your money and you've left with your product, you don't feel like you've been ripped off. You feel satisfied and you know that you got what you paid for and more.
And that speaks to your attention to detail and your passion as well, because very often people design great looking stuff, but they don't really want to take responsibility, even if some of those things isn't necessarily their fault. Seems like you take it very serious when it comes to, even if something goes wrong, you don't want to leave it up. You don't ever want to point the finger at someone. You want to be able to say, okay, this is me. I take full responsibility. If something does go wrong, you want to be there so that you can put it on yourself, so that you can have an answer for yourself because of your passion.
Yes, and it's all a learning curve because, like I said, I've had times where we may have had mishaps, and after going through every proper channel asking questions, okay, what may have happened and what may have happened, and you basically come to the conclusion it was nothing that I did, it was nothing that the bride did as well, it's just an unfortunate mishap, something that happened, but in the end still the dress was something that I produced, unless someone can say for sure I did this and caused that. The ownership will always fall on me, unfortunately, so that's something that I have to deal with. That's not always the best, but it's part of the business.
Over 100 different gowns designed. How those ones stay inspired and still come up with new ideas?
As I had one, I can't say there is no definite answer for that because the inspiration is not always there. To be honest, I've had times when I can't necessarily say I fell in a hole, but I'm here, I'm working, and I'm basically just on autopilot because nothing is actually coming, not because I don't want to, but I'm just not feeling motivated at the time. I hate when those times happen, and what I have to do is just take some time to myself, take a few days off. I might just find something fun, something entertaining to do. I'm a TV junkie. I'm not really the outgoing. I've had my times, but no, I prefer to just basically be at home and chill. So I'm always on Pinterest, on TikTok. I'm watching movies. So I find that I just needed to free my mind and take some time off. And eventually I would either come back to work and it just comes back, or I might just simply be doing something. I might be watching a movie or doing something and an idea just randomly pops into my head. I had a conversation with another creative where I mentioned that something we were doing at the time, and I said I will have to sit on it and do some research to find out. I said, but more than likely it'll happen when I'm sleeping. And she watched me like, you too? I was like, I thought I was crazy because there's times when I'm sleeping, honestly, just sleeping, and ideas pop into my head that would basically wake me up.
Right.
It happens so often, so I feel like my brain just needs to relax most times. So in terms of finding inspiration, that's something that just has to come naturally. And it has come naturally most of the times. When it's not coming, I know that, Leslie, you just need to take a break right now.
Okay. What's your favorite show?
I don't have a favorite show. I guarantee if there's something on TV, I've probably seen it. I'm the annoying person that will be watching a movie and I'll be like, oh, that's the person from this movie and that movie. I watch everything. I watch cartoon. I have a son now. So I recently created his own Netflix account because I was fed up with seeing cartoon stuff on mine. So I was putting on Paw Patrol. So I put on the Paw Patrol. I found out Paw Patrol had the movie. So we're there watching it and everything. And then I left to go in the kitchen to do something. When I came back, I realized I was turning it back because I missed a piece. Because I wanted to see the Paw Patrol movie. Right. And then the next day I went to put it on again so I could watch it uninterrupted. I watch everything.
And you have a daughter as well, right?
Yes, I do.
How has your daughter been? How does she influence your business?
My daughter, how does she influence?
When we were setting up this interview, you called her the boss, the manager.
I wouldn't be surprised if she walked in the door right now. My daughter. Anybody knows me knows that my daughter is my everything. I don't mean to sound cheesy, but there's a story behind me and my daughter, so we have a very, very close bond. We have a tight relationship that most would not even understand. If I speak about it, they would think that I'm exaggerating, but it's that serious. Right. So she is included in everything that I do. Most times when I'm making business decisions, she would be the one to give the final say. So if I'm doing something, I would say, well, let me ask her. Going through questions, going through idea or something, I would say, let me ask her. I have a lot of friends and family that I run stuff by, but my daughter is basically Elle Couture's manager.
Right.
The business the business belongs to her, because even when I want to say that she doesn't have this say, she would basically put me in my place and say, no, whatever I say. So, and she is my little model. She is the one that I use to try out styles on. She models most of my stuff when I want to do content and all of that. So she's the face of the brand, because it's not going to be me. I don't like to be in front of the camera and everything. So she is Elle Couture.
And on those days when you don't, you mentioned some days not feeling it, how does she motivate you to keep going? How does she drive you to keep going?
Sometimes if I'm stuck, I'm having some kind of low moment, I would probably mention to her, oh, I have this to do, that to do, but I'm really not feeling it, not coming up with any ideas or anything. And long after, I probably forgot that we had that conversation. I would see her send me some stuff. Okay, what about this? Try this, and inspiration and so on. And I don't think it's something that she is like trying to do, but she's accustomed to doing it. And she might send me something that I might not necessarily want to use that, but from that picture or that idea that she sent me, something else came.
Right. How has building a family change your view on how you approach your business?
Well, when the brand started, I was a workaholic, always working. Like, I would work 12 hours a day minimum, especially when I was working from home, because I don't need to worry about closing up and then going home. The machine is right there. Most times I just simply take small breaks just to eat. I don't take lunch hours. I would take 15 minutes, eat, and then go back. I might stop and do something, continue. So it was just work, because in my mind, I'm thinking that I have to get somewhere. This is the goal that I have for myself, and there is no slowing down. There is nothing. It's supposed to be distracting me.
Right.
At that point, my daughter is already a teenager. So not saying that she is not there, but I don't have to look after her as much, because she's a very independent girl and she's right there when she needs me. She knows that I'm there, but it was just work. But within the last recent years, probably after I got married, and then I have he's not a newborn now, he's 7 months now. And even with not health issues or anything, but just taking care of yourself, and I realized that I needed to set a proper pace. It was kind of easy for me to do that, because at that point I felt that I had already put in enough extra work and overtime that my brand can basically stand on its own or speak for itself. So I had to make the decision to slow down. I had to ease back a bit. So unfortunately, in doing that, I had to cut back on a lot of work. So I had to decline a few offers and stuff like that, because
the manager reach. Your manager reach.
My daughter is here. Oh my God. See?
Yeah. Open.
Can you open the door?
Leslie, get one more, please.
Oh God. So I had to make the decision to slow down. This main reason is I can't just work. I'm not going to see my family. I had to find a balance. I have a daughter at home. She's at the age where she's going into a young adult. She might not admit that she needs me, but she does.
Right.
Yes, she knows that, but she won't admit it. I have a husband. I have a son. So, and I wanted to be with them. They might be a little annoying sometimes, but it's my family and I love being with them. I needed to find time to be with them. So the long hours just was not cutting it for me anymore, and my body couldn't handle it either. At one point, I found that I was suffering from extreme migraines, where I was having migraines every day. Every single day I would have one, and the doctor visits and the medication, it was just too much going on for my body. It was stressing me out. And not in a bad way where the business was not making it. The business was making it, and that is what was causing me stress, because I was not finding time for myself. It was just work, sleep, repeat. Only time I would have off maybe Sundays, and then Sundays are not necessarily relaxed days. Sundays are when you do whatever stuff around the house and everything, and then you prepare for Monday. So it was no off time. I don't take vacations. I wasn't taking off days. I'm really trying to force myself to take off days now. My assistant is trying to help me out with that, because as much as I said that I need to take off days, she would have to remind me, you did not schedule one for this day. But I think I have a better handle on it now, because I realize that some things are more important. Yes, I want the business to grow. Yes, I have to make money to pay bills, but I also have to spend time with my loved ones. They have to see me. I have to see them as well. So learning how to find that balance was a hard task, because in order to do that, I had to leave a lot of money on the table as well.
Right.
So you just have to kind of figure out what's more important. And I did. I'm still in the process of doing that and getting a better structure in how exactly I want the business to go forward. But at no point, I don't think I'll ever go back to those long hours. I have help now in terms of employees. So that is something that I'm kind of happy to get to, because it's been a few years and it's time to get back to Lesrie. I need to take care of myself.
Right.
I need to take care of I need to see my friends. I need to see my family. And the balance is just kind of something that I'm looking forward to continuing and seeing more of.
Right.
So hopefully it stays that way. I get a little better at it, because the business, there is only more for Elle Couture. I have more going to do. I have more plans. So I don't want to get back into that habit of constantly working. So it's just all about figuring out a structure and finding out what works for me, myself, my family, and my brand.
And it's hard to scale if you're mentally in the right place.
Yes.
It's very hard to scale.
Very. I don't think some would understand. Most people think it's basically just black or white, but it's far from that. Like, the behind the scenes of running a business, being an entrepreneur is...
No problem.
I don't even know how to describe that. Most people think it's just like all gold, but it's not at all. It's a lot of time when you're not even seeing any goal anytime for a long period of time. You might be making money, but so fast you make it, it goes right back into the business, or you pay a bill. And other times when you're making a lot and then you're thinking, okay, we're up now, and then it stops. So if you don't find a way to set up yourself to find something that consistently works for you,
Right.
you, sorry to say, but it won't last very long. Yourself, your mental health, your mental wellness, the business in general, like, you have to find something that works for you, and you have to find proper balance and structure. Easier said than done, but no one thing works for everybody. It's just about seeing what caters to you.
You mentioned earlier about not being someone that goes out much, and because of that, I guess you don't interact with, outside of your customers and your family, a large group of people. That can come with some misconceptions. What are some misconceptions that people have about this?
Hopefully I'm wrong, but based on how I behave, I really behave in terms of places that I go in, so I don't really go to certain events. I don't really go out much these days. Reason being is because I'm working all the time, and I prefer that. And at the end of the day, I go home and be with my family. Just like I said, I love to watch movies. Just curl up in my bed and watch a nice movie. I play with my son, bond with my daughter. I do go out, but it's more of low key. Like, I would prefer to just randomly go out and have a drink, or go somewhere and eat and stuff like that. So it may come off as if I know our culture well. Some may seem like, oh, feel better than people. That's something you always hear, and I don't really understand that much. I'm not sure like how people usually come to that conclusion, because I'm not even around you to give off for just from being distant. But it's just all about me just focusing on what's important right now, is just work and family, my business. And I'm not sure if that is a misconception, but I've gotten that quite a few times. Thankfully, it's most times that when persons come around me and they see differently, and they probably would just mention, oh, I thought it was this and I thought it was that. So I'm not really worried about that, because I know from time you come around me or you get to know me, you realize that's not the case. I'm probably one of the most easiest persons to get along with. I'm a clown at heart. I really want to just love to enjoy myself. I love to goof around all the time. I'm a very unserious person, extremely unserious. I'm sure you've seen that already. But you would not know that just from looking at me or just from
the distance. Yeah,
you would not know that. Yeah. Like, I'm completely different to what you expect. And I know that based on experience with other persons.
How about you come book Elle Couture to make something for you and you know?
Yeah, and I usually have a lot of fun with my clients as well. So if you haven't been to Elle Couture, some may think that Elle Couture might be expensive, or maybe think that we only cater to certain clientele, and that is not the case. I cater to everybody. It may seem like I had one client. Let me give you an example. I had one client that basically accused me of singling her out in terms of when she's trying to book. I'm saying that I'm always
busy,
full. So she mentioned that it seems like every time I come, you're always full. So I asked, I said, I'm not sure if you're trying to imply that I'm just saying that to you, but it was not the case. Like, I had no problem with the client. I think I made stuff for her once or twice before, but it was just as simple as bad timing. Every time that she happened to message me or contact me is during a period when I'm already booked. I wish that wasn't the case, but one thing I have always practiced and tried not to do is overextend myself. We have a stigmatism with seamstress, not just here, just in general, that persons that they come to you and they tell you that they want to get something made. They try to tell you the date like 2 weeks in advance because they don't stick to time, or you buy them the day of and waiting. And that's something that I tried not to have attached to my name and my brand. There's times when things would happen, I may come down to not the very last hour, but cutting it close in terms of the date. But I always try to be on time, and that's something I want to continue with my brand. So when I'm fully booked is because I know that this is the amount of appointments or slots that I set out, and once those are full, those are full. And most times I would even leave about 2 slots empty because I have to leave room for errors, mishaps. It might be a day when I'm simply just not feeling well. That happens. Just like a person who are working 9 to 5, you call in sick, you don't feel well, you don't go to work. It happens for me too. So I might have something on my schedule to make for something to somebody today. They've already paid their deposits and they know that they want their clothes, and they won't understand. Not really, they don't want to understand, but they know that they want it for this day. So they don't want to hear that she ain't feeling good or whatever. So I always have to leave a little room for me to have bad days, off days, or simply a day when I'm just not feeling like sewing. Because there's times when as much as I love what I do, there's times when I come in and I'm like, I'm not in the mood today. Back home. It happens. I just need a personal day.
Those days are needed.
I just need a personal day. And if I don't feel inspired or I'm not feeling the motivation, I prefer not to sew, because I'm not going to give it my best. I have to be on my game. If I'm going to turn on that machine, I have to be in the right headspace. I have to have the proper motivation and the inspiration to execute what I'm doing that day. So when it comes to any kind of misconception about Elle Couture and feeling that, if persons have any, I'm hoping that they don't, but this may be based on comments that I've gotten, if not directly, indirectly, from some person telling me that some person said it. Is always hearsay and all of that, but it's not the case. Elle Couture just knows what we stand for. We have goals and we have rules and everything set, not just for the customers, but for myself as well. I have to make sure that at the end of the day, the customer is satisfied and I'm able to execute what I had set to execute. So when I cut off at a certain point, I have to do that, because I won't be able to satisfy my clients that I already have booked if I'm constantly overbooking myself and not being able, because I'm going to even give you late products. I'm going to give you shoddy work because I'm trying to rush off everything, and none of those are stuff that I want to get done at all. And that's something I'm very strict about, and I don't plan to change that. But Elle Couture is here for everybody. Only time I would honestly say, I have to be honest, because I feel that persons don't want to talk about this enough, especially as entrepreneurs. There is times when I have to decline persons, and it's not because I don't like your outfit or anything like that, but you probably did not come in a proper way. Just like a customer has the right to decide who they want to do business with, doesn't a business person have the same right to choose who they want to serve? It may have a customer that comes to me and they basically come with just disrespect from the beginning. I have the right to decide, okay, this is not somebody that I wish to work with, and I can respectfully decline. Even if you came to me in a disrespectful way, I don't have to fight fire with fire.
Because as an entrepreneur, sorry for cutting you, with experience, you also have the foresight to see if this is gonna be your quote from the beginning, then this entire experience is going to be very terrible.
Yes, I actually had a similar situation recently, probably about 2 weeks ago. The person didn't come disrespectful, but they approached me in a way that I felt was like, when I answered the phone, I had to be like, excuse me? And they continued. And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to judge this person just off of this. Maybe they're just kind of annoyed or something like that. And I accepted still. When I did meet the person meet them in person after we were doing like measurements and stuff like that, when we were done, I was like, question, just from when we first spoke and everything. I said, that's how you normally approach people? Because I try to give people grace. Sometimes you're just in a bad mood. Somebody just said something to tick you off and you carry over that behavior to the next interaction with that person. It happens. We're human. So when I spoke to her, she was like, for real? That's how I said it? And she was like, she didn't remember. I don't know if she was lying. I'm not saying that she was lying, but she was like, oh, I'm so sorry and everything. And that was, it could have simply been that she it was just habit maybe. And she said, sometimes I come off a little aggressive, but that's not how I mean it and everything. So I try not to judge persons, because I've had times when I've had clients and later on, how they approach me is completely different later on. And I've had ones whereas how they approach you just continued, and I would be like, I should have seen the signs, I should have seen the red flags, next time I know, but I always happen to still accept, because I try to give people grace. I don't try to judge people after first interactions, because you never know what's happening. You never know what people are going through. We all are dealing with something. You never know. So it's more than likely you would have the opportunity to get something from Elle Couture if you want it. Once I have space, once what you want is something that I can execute, because even though I have put in quite a few years, I am not too big to say that when you send me a design, I'm not too big to say I don't think that I can execute that, because I don't know it all. And that's something that persons need to learn to say, like, stop accepting people's money to make or produce something that you know you can't produce. Me saying that I don't think I can execute that to the best of my abilities is not making me any less of a designer or a seamstress, because once I realize that something like that crosses my path, what I'm going to do after I have declined that, I'm going to go and do my research, because I now realize this is something that persons may be requesting and I don't know. So my job now is to go and figure it out and learn how to do it. But no, I'm always up for being honest, as transparent as possible. I might even tell you, oh, I'm unavailable, or I'll just let you know it's beyond me. Not in those words, but yeah. So those are the only reasons I would decline. So again, Elle Couture is here for everybody, but we have a very strict calendar, a strict schedule. When I'm full, I'm full. If it's something that is more than I can handle, I'm going to simply state that. It's straight and simple, but I think people kind of read more into certain things. Like, kind of create a problem that's not really there. So I'm here to answer any question. And if a customer actually wants to know, if they want to ask me, I'm all open for educating persons as well, because sometimes you just simply don't know, you simply don't understand. If I can shed some light on a possible area to kind of guide you and make you see things from a different perspective, then I'm here to do that. I have no problem doing that at all. I've done that quite a few times as well.
How did the collaboration with Lux come about?
Lux is basically family. So the collaboration was my sister giving me an opportunity to showcase what I can do. I say my sister, she's not really my sister, but Taya Sabrati, she's basically like a sister to me. I love her dearly. She's so stressful. I love her dearly. So when Lux originally launched, I was on board in terms of helping and being a part of the team, because, you know, year one carnival, when you already have major competition and stuff like that is hard, but Lux has been family from day one. And then when she finally approached me about possibly doing a day two, it was something that was a bit nerve-wracking for me, because as much as some persons may see me as one of the best, they won't actually know that there's so many times that I'm doubting myself in terms of what I can and can't do. Not necessarily because I don't feel like I execute it, because the SKN crowd is one of the toughest, toughest crowd ever.
I always tell people,
we are hard to please.
I always tell people, if you get unanimous positive opinions in St. Kitts, you get positive anywhere else.
Oh my God, we're hard to please.
Because St. Kitts people are going to tell you, no.
We're hard to please, and they're not going to be that nice about it either.
They're going to tell you, Leslie, what you do?
Oh my God, they're going to mock you. You're going to end up in group chats and stuff like that. So it's like I've never made a day two before, and although I've done swimwear multiple times, it's not something that I do on a regular. See, I always do gown. I would do gowns, a lot of gowns on a regular, everyday wear on a regular. Swimwear is something that I do here and there. I can make them well, but it's not something that I'm focused on. So coming to day two wear, it took me a while for me to accept it. But when I went into it, I remember when I did the first year, we did our photo shoot here locally, and for the entire time, even when I made the design, again, everything runs by my daughter. So I remember I had to do multiple sketches, because I would do this one, I should be like, no. I do the next one, I should like, that look like such and such, that look like this. And I would do the next one, and I'm feeling that. Oh my God, I probably did like 10 different concepts before she was like, okay, here. Finally did the photo shoot. I was just waiting. I think I was trying to stay offline when they first launched it. But surprisingly, like the feedback, of course, everybody is not going to like it. You can't please everybody. You try to, but it's impossible. But the feedback was, I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, people like it.
You get a lot of support.
Yes.
Locally, especially. You get a lot of the people who really like your design.
Liked it, and I find that the persons were happy to go with it because they were happy to see that one of their own was designing, because usually for these stuff you go to the designers in Trinidad and elsewhere in the Caribbean and stuff. So the feedback has been exceptional. It was not what I expected, to be honest. So after doing the first year, it was easy for me to do the second year and so on. And the funny thing is, every time I've done a design, after I look back on it, and I was like, I could have done better. So every year is like more pressure, because I feel like pressure is coming from the outsiders and then from myself, because I'm always trying to find a way to top the last design. Because after I've done it and it's done and it has done well, I'm looking back, I was like, that really wasn't all that, you know. That's me trying to figure out what I could have done better, with the material choices, design, whatever. But Lux gave me that opportunity, and I am ever so grateful, because now it has me looking at the possibilities of doing more day-to-wear, being an official day-to-wear designer. So that's something I'm thinking about, but I'm here to support Lux and be with them once they give me the opportunity every year. If they want me every year, I'll be here every year for them.
How do you approach it? Especially mixing it with the theme, because designing it is one thing, but then you have to fit into the theme.
Yeah. Well,
I know you said you do multiple sketches, but there's a certain, I like to use the word polish, that your end products have.
I guess. Well, the good thing about it is Lux always starts early. That's one thing. So probably as soon as Carnival, as soon as we're finished with last step, Toya would already know. Toya and Carol would already know what their concept is for next year, what their theme is and everything. So I have time. I remember for this year, I was on maternity leave at the time. I already knew what the theme was early on in the year. And I was on maternity leave, just sitting down every day doing nothing. And I'd already sketched my design. In February, my design was already done. I changed it 3 times after that, but the fact is I had time to start early, because I'm not always up to date in terms of, because this carnival designing thing is kind of new to me. Right. I'm not always following what other designers and so are doing. I don't really familiarize myself. I don't know as many as I should. My daughter would probably know more, so she's the one, hence why I have to run things by her. She has time to follow up with this person and that person. So I'm not really looking to see what's here and there. And there's times when I've done a design, I've done a sketch, and I'm like, oh, this is nice, this is original. Thinking that it's original, because it's something that I basically just conceptualized and came up with, only to send to her, or for me to happen to run into something that looks basically exactly like that. Is one of the hard parts of design, being a designer. nothing is ever original. As much as you think that you came up with this, I guarantee you go on the internet, you'll find something similar. So you just have to find a way to make it yours. So being able to start early is one of the great things about doing this day to wear, because I have time to make it better and redo, and until we reach to a point where I feel like this is perfect for the theme and this is something that our local people is going to want, because of course Carnival is a tourism product as well, so you want to cater to travelers, tourists, and everyone who's going to come just to be with us for Carnival and to play mass, because we're getting bigger and bigger every year. I think that persons are suddenly finding out about St. Kitts Carnival and realizing how good of a product it is. So I find that everywhere we get more and more travelers coming just to play mass. So I have to find a balance in order to cater to locals and what the tourists want, because most of the revelers who come in to play, they're already preparing for Carnival years in advance, so they want to come and they want the most skimpiest because they're coming with the body to match. But then more as our local persons, we're more getting into that kind of design more, because we prefer more of the cover-up style. You know, like persons on the side are very judgmental here. Whether you do, whether you don't, is always going to be an issue. So I find that they're a little bit more judgmental when you come with like the revealing aspect, but then you want to keep up with the Carnival product in general. So being able to find a balance is sometimes a little bit tricky, but I find that once we give them options, people, they're either going to take it or they're not going to take it. And so far, they seem to like it.
Looking back, what's a decision you made within your business that has changed propelled you forward, change your trajectory?
Well, that's an easy one. The one major decision that I made that has made a big change in my business was when I decided to quit my regular 9-to-5. I think I was doing Elle Couture for about 3 years already, 3 or 4 years. I honestly can't even remember when I quit. When I decided that it's time to just focus solely on it. This is not something that was easy. It's something that I thought about for a while. But in my mind, I was always planning to keep both, because it's very hard to give up job security, where it comes with insurance, social security, you're sure of a paycheck every month, to go into something that is basically, you never know. And especially when you have rent to pay. I had just bought a new vehicle, straight out of the showroom. I have a child with major expenses. So in order to give up that, and then again, apart from all of that, I'm already doing Elle Couture. So I'm steady in terms of double income. I'm getting money from Elle Couture because at that point I already had a little steady pace, and then I have this income. So whereas one is paying all of the bills and the next one is basically just to sustain me in terms of having extra money there for myself. So I'm now thinking about giving up that, but to be honest, I had reached the point where I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I wasn't happy. Not saying that I hated my job or anything, but I was more focusing on loving what I did every day. And that was not the case for me anymore. I was going very uncomfortable day to day, waking up every day and just feeling basically depressed. And I had to make a very tough decision and decide what I wanted to do. I had to do some maths in my head, I had to do some calculations, some accounting, and try to figure out, because I still have to be a responsible adult. I can't just go based on a whim or just operate solely off of passion. I have passion, we all have passion, but is passion gonna pay the bills? I had to make sure that everything was lining up. After I did that, I did some calculations and so on. And again, my husband, who wasn't even my husband at then, was basically the one who gave me the reassurance, like, you could do this, you can do this. And he let me know at the end of the day, I'm here to support you. And I'm not sure if I ever told him this or if he knows, but when he gave me that assurance, like, I'm here for you, no matter what happens, I'm here. I think that was what gave me the push and be like, yeah, it's time to go, because I was always just terrified. What's going to happen? What happens if I don't make enough money this month? I have to pay my bills. What am I going to do? Like, because basically when you're working for yourself, if you don't put in the work, you don't get any money, you don't make any profit or anything like that. Whereas you're working in a regular 9 to 5, we all know you go and you sit down today, you don't do anything unless anybody could prove that you're getting paid. Unfortunately, that is how it works. So remembering now, the first day when I was fully self-employed, being able to get up that day and realizing, okay, you're not working for yourself. You get to sit down every day and do what you love. It's going to be a lot of work because they think that when you work for yourself, you work less. But when you work for yourself, you work even more. But at the end of the day, I know that it's worth it because I know what I'm working towards. So that day when I first started, like, I felt that I kind of brought myself back to life. I woke up every day with purpose. Not saying that I didn't have before, but you know what it's like waking up every day doing something that you not necessarily hate, but you just basically, again, on autopilot. You're just like a robot. You're just doing what you have to do, what you're supposed to do, and that's it. There is no joy in it, and that's how I felt. And all of that was just removed when I fully went into Elle Couture. It was a lot of work. It was a little bit more stress, but not in the way that it was depressing me anymore. It was stressing me in terms of, okay, you have to come up with ideas. And so it was basically just giving me back a sense of purpose, giving back some life, like making me feel like I'm here for something now, because you get to wake up every day. As much as being an entrepreneur is not all gold, but getting to wake up every day and doing what you love, it's not like working at all, because I'm doing something that I would basically do for free. So being able to get paid for that, that's something that I'm always grateful for, and to be honest.
In itself.
Yes, because sitting down and sewing and making designs and so, I enjoy it. I actually do enjoy it. So to get paid for something that I enjoy, it's something that I think everybody should strive for. I'm not saying that everybody should quit their job and go and do this and so, but being able to find a way to do that is a goal.
This is the question I've been waiting to ask. What's the project that you've done that you're most proud of?
That one is harder. That one is so hard.
To help you, I can tell you my favorite thing you've done.
Sure.
Your wedding dress.
Huh?
Your own wedding.
My wedding dress? That is so strange that you would think that that would be one of the things that I've been most proud of. But to think about it, my wedding dress did not end up how I planned for it to end up. It was very special to me because it was my mother's dress, I think that you know that. Yes. It was my mother's dress, and that wasn't the plan. I had my design and everything, and one day I happened to stop by my mother and she had her wedding dress out. And I was like, what were you doing with that? Somebody asked her about whether she would be willing to sell it or whatever. So I'm like, well, how are you selling your dress? And you didn't even ask me if I want it. It was just a joke. So I said, let me put it on. So I put it on, and it didn't fit me how it was supposed to fit, but just areas of it that kind of gave me a light bulb moment, like, no, yeah, give me this away. I want this. Right. So I took it and I revamped it. And I was even more happy than if I made my dress from scratch. So there was so much other things that I wanted to do with it that I didn't end up doing because I was doing so much different stuff. I had so much things going on with me at that point, like more than people would understand, a lot. So the pressure was on, but even though I didn't execute everything and do everything that I planned to do with it, I love my dress to this day. And I know that she probably won't say it because she's not that type, but I know she was very, very happy for me to wear her gown. It looks nothing like what it looked like, but knowing that I was wearing my mother's wedding dress. And because I can basically make whatever I want, I know a lot of persons were expecting like something like extravagant and over the top and dramatic, but that's just not my style.
It was that in the most minimalistic way possible.
And that is me. I can basically make anything that I want. So you must understand that if I have the opportunity and the capabilities of doing that, but I go with something a little more simpler, that's just because that's what I want. Sure. My personal style, I just love simplistic elegance. That is me. And my dress was one of those, but there's so many things that I really have to think about. I might have to pinpoint a few. One.
Give me a top for me.
My top one would actually be the launch, when I decided to launch. Oh, yeah. When I launched Elle Couture, because like I said, the crowd and the feedback was over the top, especially when I finally came out I have pictures. I can still remember how it felt after the event when I went home. I actually left, I went home, I was there with 2 of my friends, and we were there until like 4 o'clock just hanging out, and I was on a high because I still couldn't believe like all these people just showed up for me, like they wanted to see what I have to bring. And looking back at the designs were basic. They were very basic compared to what I would do, and in terms of how I executed them, because I would watch them now and again and be like, that's how you make that for real, like you could have done so much better. But I was just starting out, and even so they love them, even though I'm now judging them like very, very hard. They love them. So that was probably one of my top moments. Yeah, another top moment was when I finally, two actually, when I was finally given the opportunity to make my first wedding gown and my first pageant gown.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes, my very first pageant gown. It's so funny now looking at how I made that gown and realizing that I gave myself so much unnecessary work, because how I did it was not required at all. Like I took probably days to do something that knowing that I could have took 1 day to do. But after seeing it on the stage, nobody would believe that it was my first gown because I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew what my capabilities were, and I knew ways to get certain stuff done. Right. So if I had to make that over now, I'd probably do it completely different. But looking at it, it looked amazing for an amateur. Right. And I am so grateful to that chaperone for trusting me, because she knew, I think that she knew I had never made one before. And it wasn't for a local pageant, it was for somebody that was going on to represent Nevis in I honestly can't remember the name of the pageant, but she was going like, no, it wasn't JC's. I have to go back, honestly, I can't remember. It was a pageant that I'm not sure that they do every year, so the name is not coming to me, unfortunately. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. But the fact is, she used me for a pageant that was not locally. She was going up against other Caribbean islands, other Caribbean designers and everything, and I love the dress still. I love it. So for her to give me the opportunity, and I was able to work with her over and over, so which means that she was pleased with my product. She had no complaints, and she trusted me. She was satisfied, both her and the contestant. I'm still really great friends with both of them. I haven't spoken to Shavon in a while, but one of this person, when you meet up, is like everything is still the same. And my first wedding gown, the bride that I worked with for the first wedding gown wasn't even aware that she was my first wedding gown. And as much as I would look back on certain stuff and say I could have done it better, there was nothing knowing that it was my first dress, when I look back at it, there is nothing that I would do differently. So I'm very proud of myself for being able to execute that dress how I did, because I did it not perfect, but almost as if like I had been doing it for a while. So when she found out that was years later, I did another interview and I happened to mention it. And days after it was released, I saw her made a big post about it, like saying that she wasn't aware, and she is even more pleased and impressed because she had no idea that I hadn't made one before. Right. She knew that she wanted me to make it for whatever reason. She trusted me, and I was happy enough to do it, and she was pleased. So that makes it, that dress is like still one of my favorite wedding dresses that I've made.
And the thing is with that, it speaks to you being able to, I commend you being able to look back at the things that you didn't necessarily do, that you can do better now, and still look at them with admiration. A lot of times creatives, they tend to look back at the old stuff and be like, nah, I don't like that no more. But you seem to look back at your old stuff and be like, I enjoyed that for the time that it was in. You allow the past to remain the past and not tied to who you are now. So you don't bring down who you were then, because you're a completely different person now, and without that growth, you couldn't be where you are now.
Correct, because it's a learning curve. We all have to start from somewhere. And I find that it's better for me to look back and say, this is where I was and this is where I am now. I can't erase it. Erasing it would just erase everything that Elle Couture worked towards.
Correct.
If I get rid of that, then I didn't just start out being the person that I am now in terms of being a designer. I had to start out where I didn't even know how to put in a zip, like I mentioned to you. It's not something that I went to school and study or anything like that. It's something that I just fell into and realized how much I enjoyed it. And I just ran with it. I've been out. I always consider myself to be a student of fashion, meaning that I'm always looking for ways to learn this and learn that. I was having a conversation with my assistant yesterday where I was mentioning I learned this stuff here and I learned like something that I just found out, something that you think that I would know a long time just from simply watching a video, and I was like, oh, I just learned that, and I realized like, oh, that's actually a good idea. So I'm always learning. I'm always looking for ways to improve and grow and develop my skills and all of that. I don't feel like I know everything. I'm far from that. And I'm always open to learning new stuff, learning new techniques, learning new ways. And so later on, when I look back at myself another 8 years, 9 years from now, I should feel the same way that I feel now. Not saying that I'm going to diminish my work now, but I should see that is where you were and look at you now. I want to always be growing and improving every year, every 5 years, every 10 years, because I have a lot of plans. Yes, and even though I look back and I tell myself like you could have done better, it's still like a happy moment for me because I'm seeing that I could have done better, but I'm happy to see how much better I'm doing it now compared to then. If I didn't have that to look back on, I wouldn't see the growth.
You have done better.
Yes.
And that's what you can look back and say you could have done better.
Exactly. And I would not be able to see the growth. And basically, as you say, boost up yourself, toot your own horn now and again. Like, you have to do that. You can't wait for people to do that for you because nobody knows what's happening with you behind the scenes. So it's not just about being pompous or boasting or whatever. It's about recognizing what you've done, how far you've come, the work that you've gotten done, like the stables and the hurdles and everything that you've jumped over, all of the sleepless nights, the nights where I've had nights where I've broken down crying and stuff. Like, I've had too many of those to count, where everything was just too much for me. And I had to take a while. I had to just let the water run, get it out of my system, and then go back to work. Like, you have to have those. If you don't, kudos to you, but a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor.
Correct.
You have to go through those.
That's a fire quote.
Seriously, you have to go through those. You have to have those hard times. You have to learn. You have to have that bad client. You have to have that bad dress. It's unfortunate if you're the customer that it happened to, but I'm always here to compensate and make sure I fix whatever issues, because I feel that how you handle a situation after it's went bad, after it's gone bad, shows the kind of person that you are, because nothing is going to be perfect. How you handle it after is what speaks to you. So these moments have to happen or you'll learn nothing.
All right.
So if you're somebody that's out there doing entrepreneurship and you have a bad time, don't let it discourage you. Figure out what you can learn from that and how to fix it to make sure that doesn't happen again. Even if it happens again, back to the drawing board, fix it again, because you have to keep trying. If this is something that you really want, if you have the passion for it, you have to be willing to accept failure in between. Because if you don't fail here and there, you will never learn how to make things better. You never learn how to fix issues that come up.
Correct.
I tell clients sometimes after we've done the consultation and everything, I tell them often, if I'm going to have an issue or mishaps are going to happen, I'm not going to mention it to you.
Correct.
Because that's for me to handle. I know how to handle these things because they've happened to me before. If I tell you about it, that's just going to worry you, because all you're seeing is the bad, because you don't know what can be done to fix
Correct.
it. I had to go through all those mishaps and all those errors and all those bad times to know exactly what I can do. I probably have 10 ways to fix that now, because I had to fail 10 times before.
Correct.
Every single time I fail, I found a different way to execute it and get over it, get past it. So those things are absolutely necessary.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
If there's anything that you want to say to people out there to wrap it up, this is your camera. You could speak to the white camera.
Well, what I'm gonna talk about is fashion designers. Fashion is getting to where it needs to be in St. Kitts. I want to see more upcoming designers. I want to see them. We tend to have this crab in a barrel mentality in St. Kitts. That's something that I don't like. I do have a few other persons in the field that I'm always happy to work with, share stuff with. I have an older one that's been around, one of the older heads. I'm not going to call her old. I mean, just she's a veteran in the game.
Right.
That I always praise. That's Judith Rollins. That's one thing. I love Judith. And because I admire what she has done, what she has made for herself, and she was able to move on beyond that. And from the moment that I met her, she is not in my in my inbox on my phone every day telling me this or that, but there is a few times when she has reached out and she was like, oh, I have this for you and I have this for you. And it's never, oh, give me this or give me that. It's like, she has something, she don't need it, let me give it to you. And that's the kind of mantra. She mentioned one time that I came in contact with her. She wanted me to do something for her. We were part of the same fashion show. She wasn't able to stay, so she brought her outfits up to me and told me, can you just monitor them, let your girls model them and everything. And it's something else she mentioned that she had for me. I was like, okay, wonderful, I would love that. Let me know how much. She was like, stop. That's not how we work here. I help you, you help me. And that was something I wasn't accustomed to because that's not what you hear. Often in saying case, once you're in the same field means that you're competition.
Correct.
Mean that you're enemy. Why does it have to be so? There's customers out there for all of us. Everybody has to eat. Everybody is gonna eat. We don't need to be enemies. So if there are any up and coming fashion designers, please don't be discouraged. Anyone that ever thought about reaching out to me, I'm always here to help. Because me helping another designer come up doesn't diminish my work or mean that I'm going to lose on that. I'm not here to gatekeep. I'm always willing. Of course, like any business, I'm not going to share all my secrets, but as much insight and as much knowledge that I can, I want up and coming designers or even designers who are out there right now who feel like you just need somebody within the field just to bounce ideas off of, just to vent to and whatever. We need to create more of a community when it comes to that in terms of being there for one another rather than competing all of the time. That is not doing anything for us. We can grow so much more and become more than we are if we work together. Because you already have your customers. I might be, like I said, my calendar is always full. I always need somebody to recommend. And I have a few persons, but a lot of time they're full as well. But then for me to figure out who next, who can I recommend and all of that, I want to be able to say, go to this person. She's going to take care of you. You might like her more and stick with her. That is not going to take anything from me because I have more customers. I'm here to help anyone. If you're on the same mindset, you're on the same level, you don't see me as an enemy, see me as competition. We might be somewhat competition, but it doesn't have to be in a toxic way.
Correct.
Because we might be in the same thing. I'm like, hey, I don't take that customer from you. Like in a friendly way, there's always room for others. So I would love for us to get out of that mindset. For the up and coming designers, reach out to me, please. I'm always here to help. I love meeting with other creatives and persons that I can pitch ideas to, who can pitch ideas to me as well. Like that's what we should be here for.
Okay.
The world is very big. The customers are not limited to just St. Kitts and Nevis. We have clientele out there, so there is more than enough for all of us.
Thank you. Feel good?
Welcome.
Feel good about it?
Yeah, great.
Blase blah, they talking, oh my God, man, it's amazing the way they hating on all my flaws. But I applaud with a clap back cause I live for this. Standing ovation for an encore, I'm feeling it. Hey.